Hello and welcome back to episode 5 of the Gospel of the Oval Ball. Massive thanks to everyone for supporting the brand and spreading the word that is the gospel across all networks that are Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, Google and Amazon Music, to name but a few. Some massive thanks for keeping this podcast on the right road to destiny. Big shout out to the man, the brother, the legend that is the head honcho, the CFO, the CEO, the COO of Kiwis in London, the main brother, the main man, Clint Hine, who is still helping PQ spread the gospel of the oval ball all over the globe. And I just want to say a huge thank you for allowing me to put all of these good bits on your platform. And after last week's incredible journey from school just to get home, thought I'd give you an update on the 3 Amigos, the Debacling Thames Water and the London Borough Waltham Forest Road Traffic Control Network, who must be watching this podcast as we speak, because things have been, touch wood, a lot smoother and a lot quicker. When you're sat in traffic for 3 hours to do 2 miles, and then that same 2 miles you do in 15 minutes, I would say that is pure heaven, pure pleasure. That's made everyone's life a whole lot better. However, there's always one disruptive child, and this would be the imbecilic drivers of E17 and E4. A negative with a double positive, and we know where that's going, because the 3rd Amigo clearly have never passed a driving test, don't know what a mirror is, don't know what a steering wheel is, certainly don't know how to drive on a roundabout. So people with a week to go before the big day and the birth date of the JC, please drive carefully out there, because these guys don't have a clue. They're not looking in their mirrors. They don't understand how roundabouts work. They don't understand how traffic lights work, let alone a steering wheel. Just make sure you're safe and check around, because these other people don't care. They're so stupid on the roads. They're a danger to themselves and others. So stay safe this Christmas. Much love. That said, I will look to keep you fully updated on the events of the 3 Amigos going forward, because as we approach this, our holiday period, and keep you guys informed on all good social media outlets. And we're going to continue in the way we've begun with the next round, and the first round even, of the Challenge Cup. So at this point in the segment, what we're going to do is we're going to have a quick fire round. So I'm going to fire in the first round draw matchup. I'm going to be asking Quilly who he's going to choose, but he's going to have to choose like in an instant. Okay, I hear you, PQ. Quilly is all ready for action and ready to do this quick fire round. Let's just do that. Yeah. Right, this is going to be explosive. Feeling tasty. Here we go. Betfred Challenge Cup Round 1 fixtures. Friston Warriors, British Army. British Army. Loka, Edinburgh Eagles. Loka. South Wales Jets, Stanley. Stanley. Royal Air Force, Royal Navy. Tasty. Royal Navy. Doncaster Toll Bar, Ashton Bears. Ashton Bears. Oral St James, Hares Finch. Oral St James. Clockface Miners, Heworth. Clockface Miners. Alton Raiders, West Bowling. West Bowling. Hammersmith Hills Hoist, Medway Dragons. Oh, he got me on that one. I refuse to be pulled on the London Derby. West Warriors, Newsom Panthers. And of course I'm going to take West Warriors. Yeah. Good stuff. And whether that agrees with you, and if you disagree with him, just let us know. We're going to be continuing this podcast as we rewind the rugby league season to a sunnier disposition, a brighter place. 2023, the return to action post-Challenge Cup run with the brotherhood that is the West Warriors, and our assault on our potential and barnstorming incredible season with the brotherhood that is the West Warriors, and our journey to a potential three-peat and a reclaiming of the London Men's Premier title, competitive edge. How tasty last season become the Pittsburgh Steelers, the kings of the Burgh. Well, Pittsburgh is a city that thrives on victory. That's what builds the great city, and the steel mills and the metal workers. They all gravitate towards the stadium on a Sunday. and all you're producing is mediocrity any given Sunday, they're going to turn on you straight away. Maybe you should have fallen on your sword, because at the moment it's not looking good for the Burgh. Pittsburgh Steelers, 6-time Super Bowl winner, 2 in the last 20. Pittsburgh has built a winning franchise that isn't afraid to say Mike Tomlin has failed, and I do feel it's time to move on. He may have one of the winningest, as they call it, records in the NFL, but we've only had 4 playoff wins in 17 years. 1 Super Bowl. Belichick had 6 in New England, and now even he's looking like allegedly moving on. We got rid of the OC, the offensive coordinator, Matt Canada, thinking that was the problem. Now maybe it's time for Big MT to move on as well. We've lost our starting quarterback, who's the big thrower, who was starting to hit his straps. Now we're in the backup, who, based on his current form, is not firing as you would expect a former first-round pick to. So who are we going to go to? Are we going to stick with him, or are we going to stick with Mason Rudolph and become the franchise that Pittsburgh knows and loves? We're going to be there, the black and gold. We've got a big game this weekend against Indianapolis Colts. We're both 7-6. There can be only one winner. If it's us, I still think Mike Tomlin has failed, and I do feel it's time to move on. If we get to the playoffs, I feel we're going to be embarrassed by one of the stronger teams. We haven't drafted well in the last few years. We would always draft the best athlete, and we would mould him in the black and gold of the Burgh. Like our Joey Porters, our James Harrisons, our Larry Foots, James Farrier, Troy Polamalu, Ryan Clark, Ike Taylor. All these great names that want to see Super Bowls that would die for the black and gold. We're just drafting any Mickey Mouse, does a 4-4, catch 3 balls, and when it comes to the pressure, they can't cope with it, and then they expect their teammates to drag them out. That's not the Pittsburgh way. The Pittsburgh way is hard work, graft, passion, digging in deep, getting in the trenches, turning that ball over and giving it back to an offense that absolutely dominates their opponent. We haven't got an O-line that can cope with the front 4 of Cleveland, Baltimore, or the Bengals. Up to this point, I do feel, though, he's had 17 years. Mike Tomlin has failed, and I do feel it's time to move on. To get rid of our GM, because clearly he's incapable of picking any decent players either. We need to start from the bottom again, start drafting those O-linemen and D-linemen and sorting out our team, and then, and only then, be able to compete with the likes of Kansas, Miami, the way they play. Our division is one of the toughest, hardest divisions to get out of in football. If we can't overcome Cleveland and Baltimore, there is no point looking forward to playoff football, because we're just getting embarrassed. Mike Tomlin has failed, and I do feel it's time to move on. However, we need to start digging deep. My brothers in the Burgh said when we drafted Kenny, don't hold your breath. It's going to be 5 to 10 year plan before we get back to the big show. And I'm thinking of that. No, he can't be wrong. But we're already 2 years in, and it's not looking good for year 3. Year 4, we're going to struggle, possibly year 5, and then the plan starts. So fingers crossed. Wowza! Shout out to the PQ and the Quilly and the Evertanin and the Always Inspirational. How do you follow that enthusiastic assessment of the black and gold of the Pittsburgh Steelers predicament going into this evening's matchup in Indianapolis? Not sure I can follow it, but I do know who can follow it. And that is, of course, going to be the Brotherhood of the West Warriors. As we rewind back to the beginning of 2023 and the opening foray of the London Men's Premier season, looking for a further tilt at the title. Over to you, PQ, from the Evertanin Always Inspirational. Onward and upward with the journey that is the London Men's Premier tilt from the Brotherhood that is the West Warriors, and the opening game of the season would see us travel to N22's finest over there in Tottenham, take on London Scholars in a mouth-watering opener that would see both teams go at it from the off on a steaming hot day. But with a strong second half performance, the Brotherhood would come away with the win to go 1-0 and a great start to the season. We would then welcome the champs, defending champs, the Brixton Bulls, back to Acton in another mouthwater. We played them in a really tight game in the pre-season. This would be no different, and we went down in a titanic battle that would see Brixton top us 28-20. Round 3 at the home of Rugby League in Wasps, where we will welcome Medway Dragons for the tie of the week. The game of the day would be another titanic battle. We would see if we could improve from where we left off last year, and boy did we. We put in a performance of the week. Boys really stood up to be counted, unleashed their beast, played their best game of the season so far, laid a platform and become victorious at the final whistle against a well-drilled Dragons team. On to round 4 that would see us travel down to the Eagles of Elmbridge and as far south as you can get before you hit the M3 and the coast in another battle for the ages, except this time we would be unlucky and would go down to the hosts in a rousing match of Rugby League and an unfortunate defeat that would leave us at 2-2 in the comp. Another doubleheader, another season, another matchup against the Southwest London Chargers. Now, just the London Chargers, another great advert for the greatest game that would see London men's Premier team from the Brotherhood come out on top in a massive victory for the boys. Great win, great ground, great game. Round 6 would see us travel south by southeast to Old Anchorians in a rematch with the Dragons of Medway on their home turf. Another mouth-watering game in prospect. Being the home side, they come out the strongest and would dominate for periods, but then as usual the Brotherhood would come back and outplay them. Would go right down to the wire. Another tightly contested game as always. Dragons Warriors, a real battle, but unfortunately for us the Dragons held on to their fire and came out of the other side victorious. Round 7 would see the return of N22's finest to West 5 and Acton and the home of Rugby League, that is Wasps, as we welcome London Scholars for their away day trip. This would be another titanic battle, West versus East. Huge Rugby League matchup, but unfortunately the visitors would pip us to the gold on this occasion. Having beaten us at home, the Eagles would be flying high as they flew into Acton for their return match. But this time the score would be turned on its head, as it would be us that would be victorious in the greatest game that is Rugby League. Another barnstorming matchup, another great advert, another tantalisingly titanic battle that would see us overcome adversity and become victorious once again. Big double header at Richmond Rugby Athletic Ground would see the London Men's Premier take on our nemesis and the London Chargers in a mouth-watering double header. This game would not disappoint the fans. This would be our opportunity to take hold of our position in the division, and the boys stood up, unleashed their beast and were victorious. The final away day of the season, the final match of the London Men's Prem, this would decide who would be in the playoffs for the end of season championship tilt. We would be taking on the current champs, defending champs, Brixton Bulls, in their own backyard. And a great performance, but an even greater one by the host, would see us off. But due to results going our way that day, we would be in 3rd spot for the end of season playoffs. Who would meet the Brotherhood? The playoffs would dictate that we made 3rd spot thanks to some results going our way, and we would be matched up against Medway Dragons once more, but this time we would be travelling southeast in a rain-soaked, wind-swept, monsoon-like afternoon. Both teams pushing it to the max. A game that would go right down to the wire. We would be unfortunate in our efforts as the home team just held on in the conditions to progress. But what a fantastic season for the reserve grade. Different team, week in, week out. All the brothers come together as one unit of brotherhood. Played 10, won 5, lost 5. Great reserve grade action. We will be back in 2024. To quote Pat McAfee, we absolutely stink. Pittsburgh Steelers football is dead in its current form. We are an awful football team. No excitement on the sideline. Body language dire. No one wants to play for the coach. No one wants to play for the black and gold except Minka, who got injured. Now it's time for an almighty clear out at the end of the season. Start a huge rebuild. I don't know who's going to come in, but can't be as bad as what we got at the moment. Roll on. One thing that is never going to stink up the joint are a certain group of gentlemen residing in the western part of our great city, a brotherhood, if you will, by the HCKP, that are the West Warriors. After going back to back in the last 2 years, we're looking for a three-peat potential in 2023. This is where we're going to see how it panned out. First game of the season would see us travel up to Bedford Tigers. That's right, not the Indian Tiger, the Bedford Tiger, looking to unleash their paws on an unsuspecting Warrior team. That said, great looking lineup. Some might call it tasty. Looking to go one better than we did last year. As the boys strode out, you just felt a confidence on the coach, a confidence on the pitch. And we come away with an opening day victory, which would set us on the road to potential glory for the three-peat. Round 2 fixture, we would return to the home of rugby league in West London, that is Wasps, West 5, and we'll welcome our nemesis, the one, the only Jared Warren, Vince Spur-led Hammersmith Hills Hoists. These games are always tough encounters, end-to-end stuff, always 110%. These games always leave no stone unturned, and this game would be no different. Warriors would become victorious to put us top of the table. On the road to the boys at Bristol All Golds, and you never know what they're going to turn up with. A long journey, would we be able to sustain our unbeaten run? Or would the All Golds come in with their style of football? We would see. It would be a tough away day, but hats off to the boys from Bristol, giving it their all, but we just held on for the victory for the third game in a row. So after a great start to the season thus far, we would have a double-headed away day to the South West London nemesis that are the London Chargers, who would be looking for a little bit of sweet revenge after the grand final defeat in the previous season. But we had to be on our best form to take out another strong opponent, and the final result would go in our favour. Another titanic battle, but we dominated for long periods, therefore come away with a victory to lead us at the top of the table and looking good. We were going up to meet the Princes of Essex under young Pete Lamarquand's tutelage, who always has a tough opposition set up for us. Tough conditions, be an absolute blaster of a game, and Warriors would take their strongest lineup thus far, looking to keep this run going. This was always going to be a tough afternoon at the hands of Eastern Rhinos, and the result would see us become victorious once again. Having played them in the opening game of the season, we would welcome Bedford Tigers, not the Balmain Tigers, to Wasps and Acton, to the home of rugby league, and show them exactly how cool and calculated we can be if everything clicks. And on this afternoon, everything clicked. We played some beautiful rugby league. Dare I say it, tasty, and seal another win for the black and green Akimbo's Warrior Brotherhood. So this would be our first foray into a Friday night light situation. The weather was abysmal for a summer's eve. Welcome from Hammersmith would be ensuing, and they would outplay us in the conditions, but nevertheless we dropped our guard on this one. Hammersmith took full advantage as they gained, as we dropped off, and to their credit they deserved the win on that day. After our first defeat, we would then welcome the North Hearts Crusaders, who we were due to play earlier in the season. But this game would be classed as a double-headed point score. So whatever the final score was, win, lose or draw, that score would be doubled. The boys were really switched on for this one after losing to the Hoist the previous game. So we were looking to make amends. Played some great rugby league out there for the fans to enjoy. The team really got up for it, come away with a really strong win. Having gotten back to winning ways, we would then be on the road once more to the Southern Essex Princes of Brentwood and see what the Eels have to offer. A real dogged outfit, real tough coaching team. We were going to the Lions Den looking, or should I say the Eels Lake, looking to overcome all and sundry that they throw at us, and it would pan out that way as we just proved too strong on the afternoon for a well-drilled Brentwood team, and we were still knocking on that door of the top spot. The home field advantage in the playoff can be advantageous. One of our final games of the season will welcome the All Golds back to Acton. Now the weather had turned on this weekend. It would appear that Bristol All Golds played the weather better than we did. It was a real end-to-end battle. They would keep us in check for the first half, and then we managed to get a good break in the second, managed to pull away and lead us for another victory. And our final game of the season would see us welcome Eastern Rhinos to West 5, and another great game would ensue. The Rhinos would unleash their power, it's to counter with our own skills and be dominant in attack, pull off an end of season victory to set us up for a home field advantage in the first round of the playoffs. Having played them a couple of weeks earlier, we will welcome Brentwood to West London on a steamingly hot afternoon. It was an absolute sun drenching that would drain the energy out. The sideline team, KP was working his magic. Players then went out and showed their magic and grabbed us the win to put us on a path to glory. And this would set up a rematch against our old foe, the Hammersmith Hills Hoists, for the right to be the Southern Conference League champions 2023. Really great game for the Rugby League purists, but unfortunately wasn't the be for us this time. All in all, a fantastic season. We can hold our heads high knowing that 2024 is going to be just as good. Let's give it a dubs up for the Warriors, boys. One and only. Okay, so we're going to give a shout out to all the boys that played for the West Warriors this summer. We've got Blake Nah, who played fullback for most of the... What a find. What an incredible play. Noah Jarvis, powerhouse of a back. Daniel Munt, the Prince of Thatto, my man. Liam Ryan, what a comeback. Bojan Checherick, no words necessary. That boy is like a lethal weapon when he gets that ball in open space. Ain't nobody going to stop. Pete Henschel, rolling back the years, played dynamite rugby league this year. Jack Payne, my boy, that's all you need to know. Kai Wright, my smiling assassin. Neil Thorman, absolute legend in N22 and continues to be in West London. Dom Stock, the absolute devastator. Now he's moved from the centres into the props. He's even more powerful than he was before. Mitch Cairns Nelson runs himself empty every single game. Non-stop, what a legend. Tom Robertson, devastating, so deceptive, building his pace, unleashes power when you least expect it. No surprises here. Captain Chris Watkins leads with aplomb from the front. Then we have Ben Solomon, Watford's finest. Ben Yerby, Twickenham's finest hair. Sammy G, formerly of Hemel, North East's finest son. Adam Dack, to name a few. We got the young Reece Millerchamp, doesn't miss a trick. Louis Robinson, man, coming from the cold of N22, come join us, my brother. Mitchell Large, another incredible player who was just dominating his position this summer as well. One of the Newcastle brothers, Jake Ritchie, the Welsh wizard, Aaron Lewis, another fullback playing for the reserve grade, Dan Pugh, the Peter Pan of West Warriors. That's the one. Brad Aird, Jack Metcalf for Twickenham fame. Jai making his debut. Unfortunately, injury would bring his season to a premature end. Hugh Jean, who was absolutely on fire this year. Matt Beasley, who's going to be throwing his cap in the ring for Pete and Jack's job, no doubt. Finn Langdale, what can you say about him? He is the ultimate West Warrior. Cam Miller, making comeback after comeback after comeback. Incredible. Luke Armiger, if I pronounce that right, played awesome at hooker in a warm-up game. He was going to be devastating. Ajax Mash as well succumbed to injury early part of the season, putting an absolute pile driver start of the season. Zeke Pitt, Mr. Utility, would play everywhere Kimbo wanted him to. The other half, we got Chris Cairns Nelson, the assistant coach to everyone and anyone. Absolute beast mode. Kyle Tucker, built like a brick wall. Joshua Wall himself, the walls of Walthamstow, the walls of West Warriors. Kyle Henry, absolute powerhouse. Aidan Foster, never seen quads like it. James Morrison, never seen hair like it. Joel Boom Holmes, never seen anyone like it. Thomas Quill, who unfortunately succumbed to a pre-season injury, never seen a player like him. Harrison Nichols, Devon Wheatman, what a pair those two are. Plundered tries left, right and centre all over the opposition. Jono was unleashing from the bench to begin with, but was a firm starter for the rest of the season. Steve Sugru, one of Wasps' legends. Tarek Mustafa as well. Brim Farrow, Terry Sharples, Jaden Bedgood, blast from the past. Young Kieran Pointer. Once seen, never forgotten. Iron couch powerhouse. They so intense on the field. Incredible halfback Jason Lee. Real powerful, real passionate. Young Luke Cairns Nelson making it a three-peat of the Cairns Nelson boys. And the legend that walks a different path. Captain, my captain cocktail, BJ Dean. Let's go. Mr. Hay himself, Vince Hay. There we go. Apologies if I missed anyone out, lads, but the numbers we have at West Warriors is just incredible and testament to the work that Kimbo puts in and all the other coaches down there as well. So big hats off to Wayne sorting the water, Willow for keeping the passion going, Keeley for keeping everyone fit and stretched, and of course you, the lads and the team, for getting us to places that we only could ever dream of, boys. So let's roll it on for 2024. Let's get back down to train, let's unleash in the Challenge Cup and set up another run in the SEL and the London Men's Prem. Dubs up for the Warriors, let's go. So until the next time and the next podcast, I bid you farewell. Enjoy your NFL, enjoy your pre-seasoning. Thank you for taking the time to listen to the journey of the Gospel of the Oval Ball. And if you like what you hear and you see what you like, subscribe to any of the social media sites to keep in touch with us. If you have any questions, if you want to ask us anything and want to have an answer live on the next podcast, just drop us a line. And with only 8 days to go until the big date, relax, get that post going, get those presents going. So until then, I bid you farewell, wishing you Merry Christmas.